It's raining.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any sleep. Not a single wink. I was so busy jumping at every shadow and worrying about waking with a knife in my chest. Or not waking at all. Even when Hana wakes in spite of a mild fever and goes downstairs for breakfast, I stay in bed, thoughts of poisoned food running in my head. The rain that has started sometime during the night doesn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. And with how it looks outside, it seems that the weather's making up for all the sunny days it's given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. Didn't he just say that?
Yes.
With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with good old-fashioned downpours. It's supposed to be happening. Okay, that was really weird. Do you think that was intentional?
It's probably a bug in their pathing of story arcs.
It does let up within the quarter of an hour, however. A day beginning with a cloud burst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxburn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. I would hate to be caught in... I hope they did a damn good job of fixing this place, because I'd rather not have to deal with leaky roofs. I don't like the idea that the realty did a horrid patch job with the place. Hana, technically, paid millions for this place. It better live up to the price the realty company sold it for. Roof problems aside, she's going to be a definite downer about this. As well. She hates the rain. Then again, who actually does? What sane person would like it when 9 out of 10 days consist of nothing but dark, drab, and gray skies and piss water pouring from the heavens? And she was just starting to enjoy the sunlight. I will have to get up and about eventually. This is a given, but I'm not too keen on seeing or talking to Hana before she leaves for the hospital. Or eventually, in a few days' time, this bloody house. Kylie won't like it if she comes here only to find me in a bad mood. Few would dare rouse me from bed. Being able to keep their jobs is incentive enough. I trust they realize that now is not a good time to force me into anything. Maybe I can just get an hour or two of sleep before Suarez drops his brat off the mansion steps. If only. But as always, somebody has to be a buzzkill.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
Yo, Hans, go away.
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Loath as I am to admit it, he is right. Still, it's more frustrating when he doesn't give me time to concede his point.
I know you two aren't getting along.
Nosy bugger.
But you should at least see the madam off before we leave. Think of her as a business associate if you must. It would not do to part on bad terms.
It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
That's none of his business. None of it. If he remembers his place, he'll drop it. I don't want to talk to Hana, not now, when I'm so high-strung and paranoid. This whole thing is a bloody mess with everything going off at once. I'm afraid that with our troubles, I will misinterpret anything she might say or do. That'd just make the whole thing worse.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Oh. Though I'll deny it, I do find myself a tiny bit interested.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Ever consider she might be putting her paycheck to good use? Probably somewhere out there getting drunk, having a shag. Ugh, and I envy her for it. As long as she's here for work, what and who she does in her free time is her business.
I think when Ash was up in the attic and Johans was like, "What did you do to the madam?" I'm assuming he saw her in the basement. I'm assuming
Yeah,
that's
because
the
it doesn't sound
madam.
like anyone's seen her yet. They know
Yeah.
they haven't gone into their wine cellar.
Apparently, yeah. Hell, maybe she's found another client to sleep with. I'll commend her if that is the case. It's a good way as any to make connections and get business.
Of course Luke would think this.
I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I said I didn't get some of my business that way. Scratches the itch, too.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either.
Isa.
Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Okay, interesting as all this is, why bring this to my attention? If we've lost an interior designer, just find someone else to take her place.
If I knew that letting Hana hire her would bring so much trouble, I would have stopped it at just the sex.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
It is of little import that I can easily prove my innocence. It is all just a matter of principle. Because even the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it'll be such a hassle to have police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Well, there goes any plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh.
And she's screaming.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on!
I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
Bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence. Wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie is a great kid, wonderful. Better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hana business. Fortunately, I'm well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on, no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. Bed hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber's was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean cloth in my hands is a clear marker to the start of the day. But something catches my eye. My clothes and personal effects are already set on the dresser for the day. Boxers, trousers, belt and socks in one side with my shirt, jacket, and tie in the other. It's always the same things. Always. Cufflinks, colognes, and anything else I would like to add stays in the dresser for me to choose from. It's all routine. However, among the silvers, the grays, and the red is a tiny blue box.
Now, what is this?
Thing is small and light, fitting in the palm of my hand. Too big to be a ring box, but too large to be a watch box. Okay. So it's too big and it's much big, so... Looking at it closer, I see that it's one of my handkerchiefs used for wrapping. It's easy enough to untie the knot to reveal a plain box inside. An odd and quaint way to wrap a bit.
Gift.
Bit. Though presentation should be the last thing I need to be worried about. Mail, packages, gifts, and all the likes are supposed to be vetted before they get to me. In the morning, Johannes would hand me a list of things I need to look over and go through, yet there was no forewarning of this. Immediately, I dropped the thing as if it burned me.
I shouldn't have touched that. I shouldn't have touched that.
It very well might have, without security going over it. It could be a nasty gift for me. I can still remember when a security guard died to contact poison that covered an innocent enough birthday card, for fuck's sake. But as the box hits the ground, it spills its contents. What I see makes my stomach turn. Oh god, what is it? I knew it!
It's Zach's eyes.
Oh, yeah. An eyeball, still with its nerve ending, mucus and all, plops to the ground. I have to fight the urge to gag as it rolls and stares up at me.
Oh god. That's sick.
Oh, gross.
That is sick.
Ugh.
It's still wet. My bloody fucking... That is disgusting.
I'm not a stranger to being sent threats, but this has to be the first time I've been sent a body part. Even I don't do that. Yet there's no note or sign, too, as to who may have sent it or to how it got here. If this is a threat, it's a piss-poor way of doing it, considering it lacks proper planning outside the shock factor that sending a body part affords them. Do I even know anyone whose eyes are the same shade? Not Hannah's, no. Definitely not. They aren't as pretty and aren't the right color. Johannes? Mr. and Mrs. Lee? Suarez? McCullough? No, the color isn't familiar at all. Honestly, it's not like I take the time to memorize each and every person's eye. This could be anyone's, from a guard or a maid or one of the other 100 of people I deal with. Kylie can't see this. The kid is tough, but this'll traumatize her. Grabbing the handkerchief that was used for wrapping, I try to pick up the eyeball to dispose of it. Emphasis on try. Contact, even with the fabric, has me gagging. The thought of it squishing it and covering my fingers with the slick and slime of it made me recoil. But even the slightest touch is enough to make the eyeball roll towards the bed. In my mad scramble to grab for it, it rolls away even farther under the bed until it's in the smack dab middle. Don't go under there. There, it just taunts me from where it sits out of my reach. Green iris fixed on me again, perhaps judging my poor attempts to get it.
To hell with it. I don't have time for this.
I washed my hands of this, quite literally at that. Though I wish it isn't easier said than done. The nagging in the back of my head, the voice that tells me I need to be more cautious about this, refuses to push the matter aside. While it is true that it is cause for concern, without demands or anything of the like, worrying will do very little help.
Oh, God. Those are Zach's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really good. The Zach dying is, I think, like, exactly what I said about the police chief's redemption, and then him, like, basically deciding, like, you know what, I should return to being a good cop, and I will bring Luke right down and turn myself in. I think is what's going to happen in that regard. Because, like, now there's the dead guy, because they're all freaking about, like, how did somebody break into the police station, kill this guy, and then sneak out with no one noticing, and, oh, hey, here's his eyes in this rich man's house if he doesn't get rid of them. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Go on.
Looking around the room, I try to see if any other presents have been left behind. To my relief, aside from the blue box, nothing else is out of place. The most I can do right now is alert the present security staff about this breach. Watch out for any other threats. If they have a message for me, they'll most likely send it with their next gift. Whoever has sent this eye, I would assume that it is more to shake me up, more than anything else at the moment. It'll be best to act as if this didn't happen. No need to make a child worry about it either. She doesn't need to know. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child. While I try to forget the horrors that come in a box. What's in the box?
Good morning to you, Luke.
Why is she always wearing her backpack? Like, really? Take it off. Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our play date today.
I wonder if she knows that Rebecca's dead. I doubt I'd forget. Kylie's visits are a frequent enough thing that they found a way into my schedule. There's supposed to be visits to her godmother, but we can't pick who a child gets along with so long as I'm not busy. Her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me if it makes Suarez focus on work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child, tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Han and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hana, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arms in white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close enough to hold one at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I've never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hannah. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as you told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
The Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake...
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Oh, slow down, the food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Did you see how her mouth moved when she laughed? Oh my god, it was terrifying, because it went between her smiling like that and going like, oh, so it was like, oh dear.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want to let her turn the other room into a slaughter ground. What? True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been scattered across the room, from coloring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcissa, or Cisa? Is a creepy little bugger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I will break it, find a way of getting rid of it. If it wasn't from Hana, and if only Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday. One of a kind.
There's the brat and the brat verse.
My darling Hana loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter. But she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the children. Treat her as if she is made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skin knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with all her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or to even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to Papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana isn't quite up for those sorts of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. It turns a whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? Since once put dolls' tutus on model cars even. Oh, she once. What did I say?
You said since once.
Okay, I was confused.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. Get it right. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all of my classmates.
What are those eyes?
What are those eyes?
She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the two of us are completely alone.
Mm-mm.
Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Cisa giving Kylie ideas and one of said ideas being massacred by dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. Ooh. We tucked into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of this feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She talks of Miss Pink, and I have to shift my legs to become comfortable once more, the memory of my initial meeting with her still fresh on my mind. The little brat is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic-like I taught her. She talks of the sad man in the park, oh, Zach, and of her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffing in the loo. That sounds weird. When finally she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course, the calm before the storm. Because, behaved as she is right now, I can feel this curiosity just radiating off her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin and a question on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon that leaves me with the blue one, I absentmindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. I want to see the drawing. It's as I attempt to give the
The doodle dog.
Yeah, the doodle dogs another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a whole bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posed to this one in particular.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Did they ever say what she was sick with? Like, it makes it sound like she has an ongoing illness.
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johan's and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. Though I don't know if the bitter taste in my mouth is that or something else entirely. I really don't have time to process what the emotion is as the brat opens her mouth again.
You should have gone with her to the hospital. Hospitals are scary, you know.
Exactly why I didn't go. I don't like hospitals, Kylie. That's all there is to it.
So you're not angry at Tia?
Why would I be angry at her? It isn't her fault she got sick.
I heard you and Tia are fighting. I heard that you might not be together anymore.
Who said that? I have to stop her there. Sure, it's easy for people to jump to conclusions and presume that we might be fighting, no thanks to Rochelle. But it's not common knowledge that things have actually gone sour, and to put it in her terms, that we might not be together anymore.
Oh, well, where did you hear this from?
I heard it from a nice maid lady. But that's still no excuse. Not when she's sick. She needs someone to hold her hand and bring her soup and make her drink medicine.
I'm livid. Livid that one of my employees might gossip, and to a child of all people. Who says such upsetting things to a child?
Wait for it. When will he connect it?
But my anger dies out when Kylie starts to tear up. She holds it back in an effort to not seem so childish, I assume. Though I am honestly confused as to why such news would upset her so.
Oh, no. Look, Kylie, there's no need to cry.
I'm not going to cry.
Are you sure? You've got no reason to cry. Even if Hana and I won't be together anymore, you can still visit me and I can still visit you.
That's not the problem. Why don't you and Tia love each other anymore?
I still love her, Munchkin, and I'd like to think your Tia still does too.
Isn't that the truth? I love her, I'm just total shite at showing it. And a small part of me screams that I was not worthy to be her husband in the first place, no matter how hard I deny it. Perhaps in another time, another place, another me, I would have confessed that the whole world is nothing compared to her.
So why are you two fighting? You grown-ups are so stupid sometimes.
Why? Because I'm a prat, obvious. Oh, probably.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. Motioning for her to come closer, I wrap my arms around her and rub her back in an attempt to comfort the child. Only when I feel her tears soak into my jacket that I realize that there might be something else to her worries. I've heard Suarez is not getting along too well with his wife. He's not getting along too well with his wife as of late because of how busy he is with work. Really, I was wholly tempted to just brush off her question and say that it's a grown-up thing. I could content myself in pretending that this isn't happening. But it seems like she needs to hear this. That just makes it all more painful to try and explain this, because I have to explain it not only for Kylie, but also for myself.
Sometimes, people fall out of love. Or they think they've fallen out of love and need time apart. It's not necessarily a bad thing. They might be angry at each other, or they might feel sad. They need time for themselves to think about each other, to know if there is still love. Maybe they'll be back together again. Or maybe it's better for both of them to move on, instead of staying together and hurting each other pretending they still love each other.
There is nothing final, but here we are, at a crossroads where the wrong step might end in heartbreak. Anna thinks we need some time apart, but we aren't done just yet.
But yes, grown-ups can be rather stupid.
You're still gonna be my friend, no matter what, Teal?
Of course, my life would be less exciting without a little brat like you running around and making a mess of it. And you better stay my friend, even when I get all old and wrinkly.
Kylie's shoulders shake in laughter as she pulls away and gives me a toothy grin.
You're already old!
That's what I was expecting, yeah.
But don't worry. When you die, I'll burn you and put you in a jar so I can keep you forever! Just like they did with Abuelo!
Wow.
When you die, I'm gonna burn you and put you in a jar.
The sentiment is nice, I guess. My thoughts come to a grinding halt at her words. Yet she goes on as if she hasn't just said such an odd thing. Why, it almost seems like the tyke is looking forward to my funeral. As if there is no confused expression on my face, she pulls me back to our drawings, commenting on the state of my weird dog.
I think your puppy would look better magenta.